Let me just wait for some of you guys to log in. This is a good one, for those of you that were here yesterday. Today is the opposite of what I talked about yesterday. Yesterday I talked about men, and I'm going to be talking about women today. So definitely share this video before I get into the meat of what I'm talking about with anyone that might be dealing with this, or anyone that might find this topic useful. You can share it on I don't know if you can share on Instagram, but you can share it on Facebook, and you can share it on YouTube. Definitely subscribe to my channel um, on YouTube, like me on Facebook and Instagram, and follow me so that whenever I go live, you can see or be notified. Good morning, Mona August. Good morning, King, and from the Bronx, the boogie down. New York was my hometown. Good morning, Mahognon. On YouTube, he says, "Hi, Aisha, looking good as always. Thank you so much. I appreciate it." If you're new and this is your first time on one of my lives, definitely comment so I can give you a shout out. If you're an oldie but goodie, definitely also comment so I can give you a shout out. Let us know where you're tuning in from. SM Niceman from Oklahoma, thank you for tuning in. Hello, Sharon. Good afternoon from Indianapolis. Hi, Kenny. Um, okay, guys, let me jump right into it. So, yesterday, for those of you that were on my live, I talked about VAWA and how, or types of abuse that men face, as it relates to being in a marriage and what could qualify them to file VAWA and be approved for a VAWA application. And I know some people commented saying that, your female audience will not like this. And, like what I responded back was that, VAWA is for men and women. And, in as much as I talk about women, I have to make sure that men know that this is also a relief that's available to them. So today I want to talk about women and some of the types of abuse that they face. Again, all of this live videos I do are really for informational purposes. They're not legal advice. I can't give you legal advice because I'm not your attorney, but it's just to educate people on options and different types of relief that is available to them, that they don't know about, because a lot of people don't know and stay suffering or in horrible relationships because they don't know that they have this option available. So let's chat. With women, what are some types of abuse that women face? Oh, what I forgot to mention was, like, if you're tuning in for the first time or you don't know what VAWA is, VAWA essentially stands for Violence Against Women's Act. It doesn't matter that it says women's, but this relief is available to men and women. It's also available to children who are married, whose parents are U.S. citizens or green card holder. It could be your parent or your step parent, and it's also available to parents whose children are over the age of 21 and are U.S. citizens. If they are in an abusive relationship with these people, they can be eligible for a 10-year green card. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about women and some of the types of abuse women face, and I will start from, more of a psychological and emotional standpoint. A lot of times, generally or genetically, women tend to genetically be smaller than men, so men tend to be physically stronger than women. So a lot of times, some men, they yield their power based on their physical strength towards women when they're arguing or they're having an argument, just to make them scared. So even if they don't actually physically hit them, the fear of their strength on them, or how they talk down to them, or they get very angry and raise their voices loud and smash phones and hit the walls and break stuff, to terrify their female spouses. So that affects them, from a psychological standpoint, where that if you spoke, it could just go from yelling to a beat down to you being in a casket, basically. Um, Another form or another way that women are typically abused is that sometimes if they have children, whether it's with their spouse or with their previous relationship, their spouses try to make them feel like they're bad mothers, either bad mothers because they're here and they're trying to do whatever they need to do to bring their children here, or their children that they have together, saying, like, if anything's wrong with a child or if anything happens with a child, say, it's you, you're a bad mom. And for those of you who are mothers here, that's very triggering. I'm a mom, that would be very triggering for me, because we as parents do the best for our children. A lot of times this is said to incite that, either anger or that sadness, or to make you just push you down or bring you down, as a mother. Another example of psychological stuff that women deal with is references to their weights, references to what they're wearing, references to how they look. Women, unlike men who are very lucky that they can eat whatever they want and they don't gain weight, or they don't gain as much weight as women. Women go through different hormonal changes, whether it's with pregnancy, whether it's with that time of the month where maybe when when they first met their husbands or their spouses, they were a certain size, and then they had a child and then they were another size. Men tend to are you guys seeing me on Facebook? I just thought that I was freezing. If you can see me and hear me on Facebook, definitely comment in the box. So men referencing their weight, telling them you're fat, you're ugly. Why don't you look like all those other girls? Why don't you look like this Instagram models? Go get yourself together. You don't look good, And then you have the opposite of that. You have a woman who, wants to take care of herself, wants to put makeup. Like me, I love putting on makeup. And there are many women that love, dressing up and putting on makeup. And then some other men, as a form of control, or because they don't want other men to look at them or to look at their spouses, they ban them from putting that. We've had instances where the spouses basically told their spouses, "You're a slut, you're a whore for wearing a skirt. You should, everything you wear must go over your knee. Why do you have that makeup on? Who wants to see it? Why do you have a weave on? Why do you have a wig on? Why are you trying to look cute?" And these are all things that make people feel bad about themselves and feel like they're ugly, or that nobody wants them. Or a man says, "Well, look, nobody will ever want you. You're old hag. You have so many children, like nobody's trying to be with you. So those are some of the things that are crushing emotionally, and psychologically, to women. Again, if you guys can see me on Facebook, can somebody just comment and say that they can see me? And as always, and especially because I see some new faces here, as much as I'm talking, definitely leave your comments or your questions. So once I finish, I'm talking about some of the examples, I'll answer some of your questions. So please don't be afraid to ask questions, because questions help you to learn. Okay, Madam Betty says she sees me. Awesome, good. Another way that women deal with abuse in their marriages is a lot of times they deal with marital rape. So while sometimes intimacy is forced, also in a male situation where the man feels like if he doesn't do it, then it's like he's not a man. But many times, with VAWA victims, they are forced down, and they don't have the physical strength to get off their partner, and so they're raped. So we see that a lot, where they say no, but their spouse like, "I don't really care. You're my wife. I'm forcing you down. I'm stripping you," and stuff like that. This happens. And, for a lot of women, it's difficult. It's difficult because one, they're like, oh, accepting that what is happening to them is rape, as opposed to, I didn't feel like, doing it and my spouse forced. Somehow it's easier for them to say he forced himself on me than to say rape, because it makes you feel like you're broken. But this happens, a lot. Other things that a lot of women tend to deal with is, is, being put at risk of sexually transmitted diseases, sexually transmitted infections, if they have a very promiscuous spouse that's sleeping around and, refuses to own up to whatever it is that they're doing, or their spouse sleeping around and not using protection, and then the wife ends up getting this or that or whatever it is. Another area that, and when I give you guys, when I talk about these things, this is not an exhaustive list of what it is, but I'm just giving you guys examples because sometimes people are like, well, what, like I feel like I'm dealing with some of these things, but I'm not sure. Like, is this normal? Another thing is, if financial control is a big one that we see, back and, yesterday I talked about when you come from certain countries, certain immigrant countries, the men are traditionally the breadwinners, and the women tend to stay home, right, and don't work. So sometimes when they come here and maybe they marry somebody who is either from their country that's now a naturalized U.S. citizen, a lot of that stereotype continues where they make the wife not work and stay at home and take care of the children, or make sure that they don't file for them so that they don't have the ability to work, and that will ensure that woman stays put, that she's not going anywhere because she doesn't have the money. If she goes to the grocery store, they want to see your receipt. They want to go through your receipt. They want to see, what did you spend your money on? What was spent? Where they have to hide things. Like, some spouses will not even allow their wives to buy feminine products and say, well, if this is what I buy, that's what you're going to use. If I buy the lotion, that's what you're going to use. What do you need lipstick for? What do you need foundation for? Who are you trying to look pretty for? So those are some of the things that they deal with. Other things they deal with sometimes is when their abusers are physically abuse them, hit them physically and injure them. A lot of times these spouses will come back with flowers or with an apology, or say, don't call the cops, don't call the hospital, let us try to deal with it. I'm so sorry, I won't do this anymore. Or holds the phone, holds it down just so that they won't be able to call 911. I mean, some, like, literally, honestly, like some stuff that I hear, like, you literally feel like you're watching a movie, because it's unbelievable what is happening to so many people, both men and women. So this is just sort of like a brief overview of some of the things. Or another thing that we find a lot is if they get into an argument and they're in the car or something like that. This we find a lot. The men get very aggressive, driving recklessly, like they're gonna hit the car, just to incite fear. Hey, Brazen Lawyer, that's also another really awesome immigration lawyer. You can follow her. She's based out in Massachusetts. Yes, Massachusetts. As I was saying, so yeah, so these are some of the things that women tend to deal with, that they also struggle, talking about it. Like, the woman's like, well, I'm staying home taking care of the child, or if I file VAWA, who's gonna watch the children? Who's gonna take the children? Yes, watching a man, women do it too. And that's why if you watch my video from yesterday, you see I was talking about what women do to men. So I want to make sure I'm an equal opportunist and I talk about what both people face, And even though I say women and I say men, this also applies in same-sex marriages, when men are married to men and men are married to women. And I can actually do another live that specifically talks about what we see more often in our same-sex couples, because there's some differences as well that we see there. But now I'm just talking about women and men, and yesterday was men and women, and I'll probably do the next one on same-sex gender, just so you kind of know some of the other peculiarities that they deal with. So yes, women definitely do bad things as well, but today is about what women deal with when they're being abused. As I was saying, so a lot of times you have women who they're dealing with all this, but all they're thinking about is their children, and that their spouse has told them that they don't have papers, and that as long as, if you ever go report me, you will never see your children again. I will make sure that I hold on to those children and you will never see them again. or you will get deported and the children will stay with me. It happens all the time. Sometimes you will have somebody that their children are being molested by their stepfather, but the spouse has been so mind effed, excuse my language, that they truly believe that they will not get to hold on to their children if they report to the authorities. So that's a summary of some of what I tend to see in my own practice. Let me answer some of y'all's questions. Okay, so Brandon Atwell says, good morning from New York. Hey, New York. Booking my consultation with you next week. Can't wait to chat with you. Awesome. I'd love to chat. Okay, let's see. Mahognan Ayello says, hey, Aisha, how many years background check does USCIS look into for VAWA cases? So they generally look into the last 3 years for good moral character, but I always say, look, even though they look into the last 3 years, sometimes those people will just be like, well, we have discretion. Let's see what else is going on in there. So it depends on what, if you have an issue with your background, it depends on what the issue is and how far back it is and how rehabilitated you are. So one of the requirements for VAWA is good moral character. So a lot of times you must submit some sort of police clearance or FBI report for the last 3 years. If you've not been in the United States for the last 3 years, you want to get a police report from your country or wherever you lived to show that you have good moral character. Just try and, make sure you're good, Okay, let's see. Chan says, hi, good morning. I filed for EAD renewal in December of 2020. I got a receipt or card. I tracked it and it was delivered. Can I send in a new renewal? I would. If you didn't get any receipt, that means I'm not really sure who it was delivered to, or maybe there's a possibility that you sent it to the wrong address. So even though it was delivered to the wrong address. But if you've not gotten a receipt, I would definitely file for another renewal. Okay. Halal and Shayla says, hey, good morning. Thank you so much for what you do. We really appreciate your support. May God support your family. Also, please kindly respond to my question. I am pregnant with my abusive husband, and I already filed for my VAWA myself since July 9th of this year. I only have receipts and nothing more. That being said, I really need help about my mom's visa. She was here before, but her visa expired. And since we've been trying to look for a date for an interview, nothing's happening. And I'm alone here with no help. Well, first of all, congratulations on your pregnancy. And I hope you have a safe pregnancy and safe delivery. And I'm sorry that you're dealing with this with your abuser. If you filed for VAWA in July, typically what comes next is a prima facie determination letter if you meet the bare minimum. I'm trying to keep my fingers crossed for you that you do receive one. July, so we're in August, September. So, you still have time to receive that. It's not been a long time. I mean, September just ended last month. Prima facies can take 3 to 6 months to come. It's just very case dependent. So just try to be patient with that. As far as your mom, are you trying to get like a visiting visa? If you are, there's not really much we can do here. We can control interview dates. We don't have like any plug or anything that can make the interview dates go by quickly. The problem is because of the backlog with COVID, it's just really hard in those embassies in whatever country you're from to get dates that are quick. So you just kind of have to wait the time. Hopefully if you have other family here that can assist you, hopefully that will help. Okay, so let's see what else I have here. Linda on YouTube says, hello, what if you have a lot of proof, police reports, order of restriction, but no pictures of the violence and a lot of pictures of us and the kids? I did my declaration with a lot of details. That should be fine. And then you asked again, does USCIS take all of time? I'm not really sure I understand that question, so you can definitely rephrase. Zanila on Instagram says, good morning, beautiful. How long is VAWA taking now? And I filed in July 2019 and nothing yet. Honestly, VAWA cases are taking like 2 years to 2.5 years. So what are we? Yeah, so you're almost approaching the 2.5 years. Maybe you can do a status update. And it depends on who you filed with, because honestly, if you're a VAWA client, calling 1-800 number is not going to help you. You know, they're not going to talk to you because of confidentiality and to protect you as a victim, because they don't know who's calling. So a lot of times you would have to either write a letter for a status, or if you have an attorney working with you, they can use the attorney hotline. Okay. Alex Johnson says, can I get a driver's license with a Permafrost in Texas? Yes, in Texas you can. In Florida you can. Obviously, I don't know all the other 50 states offhand, but these are the two that I get asked all the time. Texas and Florida you can, but it's not in every state. But those two you can get. Okay, let's see what else I got here. As far as questions, guys, sorry, I'm scrolling through my Instagram to see what else I have. Okay, I have a question here. I have a friend who would like to see about her VAWA case. How can she get in touch with you? Okay, Qua Baby, she can get in touch with me by calling 407-995-6567. When I get off the live, you can also go on my profile and you'll see my number right there. And she can also send us a text on WhatsApp if she wants us to call her back. It's 404-333-8751. Okay. Linda says, does having a lot of proof make VAWA faster? No. That doesn't determine timeline. Timeline is based on the standard processing that needs to be done. That being said, having a lot of proof helps to ensure that you will have an easier approval process, but it does not make your time go faster. Okay, do you guys have any other questions before I jump off? Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. Okay, I think I got everybody. Well, TGIF, I hope you guys have a great Friday. And I will see you guys back live on Monday. I'm going to be on live on Monday, definitely between 9 to 9:30 on Monday. So definitely either hit the notification button so that when I go on live, you can be notified that I'm on live, or you can subscribe to my channel on YouTube to let you know when I go on live. And of course, I want you to follow me, like me, share this video, let other people know what's going on. All right, guys, have a lovely weekend. Bye.